This program is financially supported by the fundings from the European Commission.
You are listening to the EBU Access Cast, the first official podcast from European Blind Union about assistive technology for blind and partially sighted people. And here are the hosts.
I am Bart Simons. I'm currently in Rome. The European Blind Union is organizing its General Assembly. It's the 11th edition and it takes place between October 27th and October 30th. Next to the meetings, there is also a tech fair, and I will interview the exhibitors. And I also used this occasion to talk to some key people in the European Blind Union and ask them what technology they use, to learn from them how they manage to be efficient in such important roles. This General Assembly is a meeting of about 200 people, among which many are blind. It's very well organized. There are volunteers to help you find your way, but there is also a technological solution. The organization of this event developed an application on the smartphone. In this app you can find a program. It helps you to orientate. There are beacons placed throughout the hotel, and it's a very efficient and accessible way to get information and get help with wayfinding. We'll hear from the developers. They did not just make the app for this special occasion, but they have a whole platform that supports organizers to create an accessible application for iPhone and Android devices.
We've been working on a project which is called Farosut. This is thought to create application for, especially for museums. The idea is to have the possibility to create an application in a very short time and at low budget. The customer builds the application himself, so they have a panel, backend panel, using which they can enter information and have the application prepared for their users. It's something like WordPress. It's like a content management system that people can use to create accessible app. The app are multi-language, they are multimedia, so they can the customer can put all kinds of information such as video, audio, of course text, links to documents, etc.
So you develop a system where people can easily create an application for an event or for a specific task, and it gets published to the different app stores.
Yes, exactly. Well, the system was initially meant for museums, so the contents are actually artworks with their information, but it can also be used, it can be adapted.
Here for this General Assembly you made also an application, or someone created the content for the application and you published it online?
Well, actually we did both. We put the contents for the application, but the organization gave us the contents.
So your system allows to publish a native iPhone application and a native Android application?
Android application,
okay.
Yes. They're actually native. They built in the native language for Android and for iOS.
Yeah, and you update once the content and it will be on both
yes,
apps.
On both the platforms.
Yes. Excellent. And the accessibility of the final app, does it depend on your system, or can the client ruin the accessibility, or are there measures that you can take to prevent this?
We built the application as accessible as possible, so it mainly depends from our work. But of course, if the customer, for instance, do not put alternative text for the images, they can help in building an accessible app. but the application itself as a structure is absolutely accessible.
Because some of our listeners might remember your name or your voice because you were one of the programmers of the Ariadne application, so you do have experience with building accessible apps. So that
we also introduced the QR code recognition and NFC recognition. So on the door of your room there is the NFC and the QR code. It's near the braille writing.
But how do you activate it?
Yeah, it will give you the room number.
But do I need to be in the application or do I need to be in the camera app?
You need to be in the application.
Okay. Is there a website where people can go to have more information about your company and your products?
There are two websites actually. One is called itcares.it. So it's ITCARES. And also there is another website of the product, which is Faro. It's written like PHA, so faroart.com. And there you can find links if you want to test the platform.
I spoke with two companies that try to make our white canes smart. The first one regards the tip of the cane that will allow to detect information via RFID tags in the tactile paving. And the second project works with the handle of the white cane, lets it talk and interact with a smart city. We'll hear from two companies after each other.
Our company is JKJ SRL. We are from Italy and we are specialized in the production of tactile paving systems. I speak about systems because you don't only have the normal tactile paving route, but every tile is able also to give you a vocal information in the exact point where the electronic stick touch the message, touch the tiles.
What we see on the table is you have the tactile pavings that we know from the street, the straight lines and the balls for the warning sign.
Exactly.
And you say that you augment them with an electronic component.
With the radio frequency tag, which is a passive tag, it doesn't need electricity, and it works only when he's stimulated by our electronic stick. So the electronic stick is made up of an antenna, a battery and a Bluetooth module that speaks with the smartphone. Let's say you have your earphone and you receive all the message you need.
So you want me to replace my white cane with your cane, and that I install an app on my phone to communicate with my white cane.
We are working on a smaller hardware to put on the tip of the cane, so you don't need to change your foldable cane. And you just download the app, you download the map, and then you don't need any network. You will have all the information on your smartphone, and you will go ahead on your route. Indoors and outdoors. It is made up of a special high resiliency PVC and very resistant to UV.
Can you use it on carpet? Can you use it on concrete? What are the limitations, or how do you fix it?
You can use on any kind of flooring except for iron, because in that case there would be problem with the radio frequency tag. But essentially you can put it indoor with a double tape, a very resistant double tape that we provide with the tiles, and outdoor with a special B-component glue. You just need to make the floor even with the same glue and then put the tiles. It works in 20 hours, or otherwise with rapid glue it works in 8-10 hours, and it's done.
Is this also meant for temporary solutions, or can it stay, and is it then resistant for cars running over it, for instance?
Yeah, it's very, very resistant. We have some routes here in Italy that are working since 7-10 years.
Can you have them in different colors? Because that's what architects always tell us, they are ugly, these lines.
Yes, of course, but they must be they must be sometimes, because of course you need to have a contrast.
Contrast, yes.
Yeah, so we have many colors, standard colors, which is yellow, red, grey, black. They are the most used, but we can provide any color according to the floor, of course. Once we have installed the route, we make the map. According, of course, to a specific lexicon, because you have to be very careful and give the right information. So you take a responsibility for what you put on your tiles, of course, the programmer. And then the map is into a database, a European database, that anybody from any country can enter using the app. You tell the app where you are by using the GPS, and it gives you all the information about the surrounding maps. You know what are the routes that can speak, let's say. Every tile can give you unlimited information in any language it is programmed to do it. So think about a museum, for example. You enter into a museum and every tile explain you what arts you are watching to. No need for beacons because the technology is very precise. It gives you the information almost in the exact point where the tip touched the radio frequency tab.
Where can people find more information about your product?
On our website, which is jkj.it, you will find all the information and downloadable brochures.
We are walking on the line now.
Yeah.
It beeps so we can go straight ahead. So the idea is that I keep my cane on the line and I don't go left, right, as you sometimes do.
You scoop it or you put it on the central line?
Yes.
More or less, I mean. Okay.
Here is a crossing.
On your left, at 9 a.m., entrance to the General Secretary's office, 3 hours to the right of the restaurant, proceed straight to the exit and the toilets.
Perfect.
Okay.
Well, LeRSmart is a complete urban orientation system that's integrated in your white cane, in your current white cane. It gives you urban information from buses, from traffic lights, pedestrian crossings, buildings, shops, like even your house. With LeRSmart, we let the white cane talk. There are many modalities. If you go, for example, you're in the street in your smart city, you're going around, you need a bus, you listen to a couple of buses that's arriving your bus stop, for example. Route 20 Royano. If you need to get on that route, you can reserve a place on that route. So you listen that, and the driver knows that you want to get on the bus.
What needs to happen for the system to work? Because the bus needs to be equipped with a tag, or how?
Exactly, needs to be equipped with a tag. For example, actually, in this moment, currently, the Trieste, where we come from, is the first, the pilot city for testing. All the public transport are equipped with LeRSmart. Soon, all the traffic lights will be equipped with LeRSmart. We are cooperating with the most important company in Italy that makes traffic light push button systems. The LeRSmart can be implemented inside the system, so it's a very particular thing. You use.
Would it tell me what street I am, or that the light is green?
Both of them. Okay. Yes, you don't need to look for. You don't need anymore to look for the push button. You when you want to go across the street. Yes, you listen the message from your handle, your white cane, and you say, okay, I want to cross the street. You activate with the push button. You can feel
the
this.
remote.
Yeah, with the remote. Yeah, there are two simple. You can keep using it like your
It's really a part of the cane.
Actually, there are two solutions.
Okay.
Two solutions. One with for
it's the rubber head of the cane. Let's say.
Yes.
There are no two buttons in it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Two buttons. Very easy. We worked on that. The monitorization of the system is very extremely situation, and we want to keep the cost very low. One tag costs around 100 euros. Another cool thing is that the Letter Smart is an artificial intelligence inside that remembers your habits. So in the morning, if you go 5 days a week the street to go to your working place, he remembers the routes of buses you get. Okay, so there's many modalities. You can imagine when a smart city is equipped with Letter Smart, traffic lights, buses, street, everything, you will receive many messages. So you can choose and you can change. Bus and taxi. And then you receive only the messages for that modality. This is one of the two solutions developed for Letter Smart. The other one is already in this moment on the market is a Letter Smart Luce. This was Letter Smart Voice. This will be Letter Smart Luce. Is a system installed on the last segment of the white cane. The Luce is a system that lets you to be seen in low light conditions. This is the last segment. In this moment is installed Letter Smart. Actually, it's a LED light, very particular, a very cold light, 6,000 Kelvin.
Wow. Okay, that's very.
Yes, with a pulsating beam. Okay, that lets you to be seen.
Okay. Where can people find more information about your products and your company?
Yes, www.letismart.com. LETISMART.com.
I am Wolfgang Engermann. I've been the president of EBU since 2011. I'm from Germany. I live in Hanover, which is in the northern part of Germany, right in the middle there.
You are a blind person in a high position. I can imagine you get a lot of information via email, in documents, maybe inaccessible documents. What do you use as technology?
One of the main advantages of the EBU communication system is that we communicate by electronic means. I have a PC and I also have an iPhone, using it with my speech output, that is voice over, or along with my Braille display, which is the Braille Edge of Sense technology. The Braille Edge can also be used as a standalone device, which makes it possible for me to store all the documents I want to take along with me on an SD card and insert them into this Braille device and use it from there, which makes me independent from internet access. And so I can handle all the things that come in. If it's a document, either it is an accessible PDF document, or you have a PDF document which you have to deal by OCR, which means that you have to convert it into a text-only, text-accessible version.
I assume you have to travel a lot in your position, and I have the experience that websites where you book your train or your plane are not very accessible. How do you deal with this? Do you get help with it?
In most cases I can manage it myself, because I have chosen a company which has an accessible website, which is Expedia, which makes it quite easy for me to book either through iPhone and their app on my iPhone, or through PC. But in the recent past I have mainly used my iPhone to do that, and it works out.
That's a good tip, thank you. You do a lot of public speaking, you chair meetings. How do you prepare for this task, especially if you have to give an important presentation, maybe including slides? How do you prepare, and what technology do you use during the presentation?
Yeah, I have to admit that in most cases I don't use slides, because I'm not really convinced that a slide makes much sense if it's just what you have it's just what you're talking, what you're speaking out. But I admit this is something which, if I had to do it in the future, I would consider using more slides than I have done in the past. It's not easy for a blind person to prepare slides because you have to use PowerPoint, and this is not as accessible as the other text editors.
And for yourself, would you read your notes from paper or from your note-taker device?
My note-taker is 40 cells, the display, and that is enough space to read it from the display. So I use the Braille Edge to read from there. The thing is, you have many printers that now print double page. And that means that in some cases the shape of the Braille becomes a little bit vague because you're feeling from the backside the holes and the dots alike. So I really prefer reading with Braille displays. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I would take a one-page printout.
Mm-hmm. Okay. In this podcast, we've talked extensively about recent accessibility legislation and improvements. EBU played an important role in the coming along of the Web Accessibility Directive, put a lot of effort in it from European Blind Union. Then we had the Accessibility Act. How do you look back on these developments during your presidency?
After all, it's better than nothing, to put it like that. We have some reliefs that we have achieved, especially in the ICT field. But what we really would like to have is a design for all approach. That means we would need devices that we really can handle. And unfortunately, in most cases, this tackles the private economy sector, which consequently finds the opposition of all the enterprises because they're afraid of high cost for designing in a barrier-free way. So that's one thing that we still will keep on to work on that. But at the moment we have this European accessibility as it is, and as I said, it's better than nothing. We have included some electronic devices which have to be designed in a barrier-free way, but in terms of commercial goods and services, we're still at the beginning, as I would like to say.
Anything else you would like to draw the attention of our listeners to, or should I ask your?
Yeah, very good success we had is, of course, the WIPO-Marrakesh Treaty, which makes it possible to exchange books throughout Europe, throughout the world, without being afraid of violating copyright situations, copyright legislations. The implementation of this treaty, of course, is different from country to country, and in some countries the owners of copyright demand some compensation for their permission to transfer their works into an accessible format. But at least we have this regime of import-export situation, which makes it much more much easier to obtain people from abroad, which is a good thing to have. And at this moment, I would also like to recommend to join Bookshare in the US, which makes it possible to have some access to a variety of books, mostly in English language, but there are also other languages they cover, and it's absolutely an advantage to be a member of Bookshare. Then it costs a little bit, but it's worthwhile.
Thank you so very much. I'm happy we had your voice on the podcast. Thank you for 8 years of your contribution and dedication to to our work, and I wish you good luck with the future.
It's been my pleasure to serve that way. Thank you.
Now it's time for some tourist trips. There are tactile museums in Bologna, Ancona, and Catania. We'll hear an introduction of all three.
We are here with Lucilla for the Institute for the Blind in Bologna.
I see a table full of tactile images, of miniatures, of...
They actually present two museums. They are called Anteros Museum of the Blind and Tolomeo Museum. They have, for instance, you can touch here, tactile reproduction of
riproduzione tattile di Cupido che si toglie la benda di Luca Cranach il Vecchio, realizzato
this is the name of the painter, Cupid.
So I'm touching now a tactile representation of a painting. Like
yes.
It's a person, I think?
Yes, it's a child, it's Cupid, Eros. At the Tactile Museum Anteros, they have a collection of three-dimensional reproduction of artworks from the Middle Age to modern
And they
age.
can all be touched?
They can all be touched, yes, of course. It is in Bologna, in northern Italy. These books are created by Museo Tolomeo. It's a different institution. They are involved in transmission of the science to blind people. You're touching a book with a representation of a park in Bologna.
There's a tower.
There's a reproduction of
della chiesa di San Giovanni Battista in Diacovo in Russia.
Okay, it's a church, St. John the Baptist.
And what are these things? There are little cards, and they have different shapes on them. What are they for?
Memory tattile. Riconoscere l'oggetto e la sua riproduzione.
Oh, there is the object and its reproduction here.
So this is like a ball?
It's a game. It's like a game.
Per educarli all'uso del tatto.
For instance,
to stimulate
here,
the tactile.
Yes.
If people want to visit the museum, do they need to contact you in advance? Do they need to book a seat, or do you have specific opening times?
Yeah, they need to book, but they do not have any. Do you have degli orari di apertura? No, if they book, they can agree about possible time. They have the opening time of the institute, which is from Monday to Friday, from 8 to 7:30 in the afternoon.
Is there any website where people can find information and contact?
The website is www.cavazza.it, CAVAZZA.it.
And that would be for both museums?
Yeah, for both museums, because they are both in the same building, and they are owned by the same institution, which is the Cavazza Institute of the Blind.
So this is the Omer Tactile State Museum. It's situated in Ancona on the Adriatic Sea, and this is a totally tactile museum. Our collection is composed by 300 sculptures between 2 copies in castor resin and original sculpture from contemporary artists that people can touch too. Our museum is totally tactile, and everyone can visit it, touching art, exploring art through a different point of view, using touch just for once instead of sight. And the most important thing is that everyone is welcome to our museum and has the possibility of knowing art. You can have a guided visit with one of our guides and touch different sculpture from very ancient copies of Greek and Roman art up to contemporary artwork.
Your guides, are they sighted or can they be blind as well?
Our guides are sighted, but it wouldn't be impossible having a not sighted guide. It's not always easy to understand, and our guide can always explain you better what we are are touching and even tell you something about the artist's life or his poetic. So yes,
like you would have in every museum. Yeah.
Yes, of course, and of course a guide can describe you what you are touching and make it more clear. We have tactile models of very important monuments. For instance, we have an architectural models of Roman Pantheon, the Athens Parthenon, and the St. Peter's Cathedral.
Okay. It's an art in itself to make these models.
In a certain way, yes. It's an art. There are several factors that you have to consider to make a model such that. But we don't do them by ourselves at the museum. Usually we ask to architects and external experts from architectural schools and stuff like that.
I see, okay. If people happen to be in Ancona, do they need to make a reservation before they come? And where can they find information on the website?
Well, they can find information on our website. Our website is totally accessible. It's both in Italian and English. www.museoomero.it M-U-S-I-O another O M-I-R-O
Polo tattile multimediale or Museo Borges. This place is in Catania, Sicilia. Is a big museum where inside you can touch over 60 monuments building in miniature, smaller. After, in this place, there is a big garden, sensorial garden, and a dark bar where you can drink something and where is all dark.
I see here a book with many models of...
Yes, there are a lot of books because inside in Stamperia we stamp for blind, stamp in large print or braille.
Okay, I see many houses in this book.
Yes, these are books for children.
You use these books when you guide people through the museum?
We can also sell these books for the users.
Okay.
So here you can touch the images because these are tactile images.
It's like a house?
Yes, house, a wolf. A wolf. And in this side you can touch text. Braille. And at the same time is written with normal character down the braille.
Okay.
So the mother can read, the baby, the children, the child can touch the braille and so learn the braille.
Yes,
and
nice.
in the same time touch all the images of the story.
So, but it's not necessarily to be seen in the museum, these houses. It's a different activity that you make these books. Is it a different activity than the guided tour in the museum?
Yes.
Okay.
They can touch this book. They can also buy these books if they want. In this side here, we stamp all the maps, tactile maps, for example, for the stations, for airports, or for the hotel, for example.
It's a very nice material. It's like plastic.
Yes, and very strong.
Yeah, and it can be colored as well.
It's colored. And it's difficult to...
Yeah, you can't scratch it off.
Yes.
Yeah, durable.
And for example, in Catania, we stamp all the books for the children that go in the school and are all free.
Okay.
Because we have a convention, we make all these books for them. So we have a website, Stamperia Braille UC. If you have, for example, Facebook, you can find us in the social Facebook, Polo Tattile Multimediale. Also in Instagram.
My name is Mokran Boussaïd. I'm the Executive Director of the European Blind Union, and I have been on this position for 27 years now. It's been a long time since I'm working at that position, and it is high time now I retired and devoted my time to other activities.
I'm happy you pronounce your name, because my screen reader always tells me Mokran Boussaïd. Now I finally know how to pronounce it.
I don't pronouncing it the Algerian way. I'm called in Arabic Mokran Boussaïd.
Since this is a technology podcast, in your position as a General Director of the European Blind Union, how does technology support you in your work? Can you tell us a little bit what you're using as equipment?
I belong to that generation of people who arrived just before the computer's revolution. One major problem was to get trained whilst being at that position, a position of responsibility. But fortunately, I had already some knowledge about using word processing and this kind of software. Little by little, and I started to get trained in a reasonable way to allow me to work independently. And this was particularly important at the time, because we were a very small team, and I could not just rely on my colleagues, to help me access this and that. So I really had to fend for myself. Yes, I'm using a braille display, along with, of course, speech. I work with both. See, I think it is very important when you have to work quickly. It's good to have to be able to work, with audio, because this much faster when you have a lot of material to consult. But of course, when you have really to study something, it is very important to have as a support, the braille script.
You're using the Windows environment or Note Taker?
No, I use the Windows environment. The problem I've always had with note takers was the scant access to emails, and for example, even now with my Braille Sense, I find it a bit difficult, to really have full access to my emails. To me, it's less convenient, so I prefer to work even when I'm abroad with a Windows environment. It's a privilege, of course, to have sighted people working with you. At times, I would just be blocked, not knowing what is written, for example, or what is written on your screen. This happens. So
I assume you have to travel a lot for your job, and I have the experience that many travel booking websites for trains and planes are not the most accessible.
It is true that I have a tendency not to waste, and not to lose time, because the other thing is, and it is a problem I forgot to mention at the beginning. We are a limited staff, and there is a lot of work. So at times I have to decide. This I'm going to leave to my assistant, dealing with my travel reservations and this kind of thing. I just don't have the time to deal with it. And after all, I'm just doing it a sighted director would do it. Leave this to your colleagues. I deal with information that is readily accessible. I don't have the time, to spend, to try and figure out, what software is this, and it would be impossible for me.
Do you do a lot of public speaking, and how do you prepare yourself as a blind person to do proper presentations?
I don't do that much of public speaking, really, because we try to involve as many people as possible. But when I have to do, I'm more of a braille user, paper braille, because then I have, with my hand, just shifting, my hand through the paper. I can see how the ideas are organized, leaving blanks between ideas and this kind of thing. Because I learned Braille when I was 16 or 17, when I lost my vision. So I'm not a fast reader, unless I prepare the text. I prepare, repeat it, so that I get used to it and give the impression that I'm a fast reader, which I'm not actually. So.
Okay, thank you very much for this insight in how you organize yourself in an important representative role, and I wish you a lot of luck with the rest of your plans, and we'll be curious who will be replacing you in this important position. Thank you so much. Another topic in the exhibition was education. One of the stands was an Italian association that specializes in explaining astronomy. They developed tools to very much hands-on show how planets turn around the sun, how planets relate to each other, what the distance is, what the difference is in weight. There was a specific tool to explain why we never see the other side of the moon. You could really feel the moon turning around the Earth. I spent at least half an hour in this stand because the people in the stand were so passionate to explain their models, but it was very difficult to make a good recording because it involved a lot of touching, and it was a very lively demonstration. But I really was impressed by their dedication and the handcraft that was gone into making these tools. And as the man pointed out, these tools are not specifically meant for blind and partially sighted people, because they make astronomy visible for everyone. It's quite abstract, and with these tools you can really see, feel how it works. Now we'll hear from an Italian association that makes books to teach Braille and to stimulate touch with young children. And afterwards we continue with the other interviews with tech companies.
I work for the Federazione Nazionale delle Istituzioni Procechi. We especially are engaged with the education for blind children, and for especially we do books for beginners, children who start to learn to read and to write. So the main books that you can see here,
very soft and interesting looking books,
are books
with Braille on it.
Yes, with Braille on it.
Senti.
Yes, Senti. Phil means.
And you have raised letters, so you have the Braille letters, and you have the tactile big characters also for touching.
Yes, and these for beginner are books with the text is very small. This one just one word each page. In this case, this means soft. And you can touch something that is soft.
Correct,
very,
I can confirm.
Very easy.
Duro,
hard. And
it's written also in large print then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So a sighted parent can also see what is written.
And with very strong colors.
Okay. You sell these books, or you are like a library that people borrow them?
No, we sell it, especially to library that buy the books and or families or schools.
Okay.
The books are a little bit expensive because they are done manuals. We prefer to sell it to library. We do always the books with a page of text and a page with picture, one in front of the other.
Yeah.
So the child can follow the story easily.
But it can also be a blind parent and a sighted child.
Yes, of course. We have even a book completely made it on wood.
Ah.
All the books is wood.
Wow.
Even the Braille. is an experiment, but we have seen that the braille
it's very
printed
readable.
on blue
It's nice
is
to
readable.
read. Yeah, it's very nice. And is it colored or not? Can you see the dots?
Yes.
Excellent.
Here we have even maps for city maps and other kind of book for secondary school. This is about geometry.
I see. Do you have a website where people can find information?
Yes, our website is www.procechi.it. PROCESHE.ET.
Yes, so good morning, my name is Steve Bennett and the company is Dolphin, from the UK company who makes Supernova, Guide Connect, Easy Reader, and those are the products I have on the stand today. So Supernova is, it's actually 4 products. So the Supernova magnifier, magnifier and speech, magnifier and screen reader, and then there's the screen reader element on its own. Okay, so depending on your site, you can recommend the right product for the site condition to the person to use the computer. It's just excellent magnification software, and the screen reading, of course, is understated in many ways and is undervalued. Would be another thing, but that would be my perspective. It's really fast on the internet, supports all the main applications. Chrome, Mozilla, Internet Explorer on its way out now, but and also we hopefully the new Edge when that comes along, which is based on Chromium. So really good software. Windows 7, Windows 10.
In which countries is it available? In which languages?
So I think we're translated into 28 languages now. So it'd be difficult to find a language that it isn't supported. All of the main European languages, and then Chinese, what else? Ukrainian was coming shortly, Russian is supported.
How is it possible that when WebAIM does their screen reader survey every 18 months that there is even no mention of Supernova?
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's... that would be... in many ways, Dolphin is at fault there. We've always been a really small company in America, but a strong company in Europe. And we don't motivate our customers to actually go and vote for our software. So I think people underestimate how many actual users of Supernova there are. There are thousands across Europe, but it's not just the one product, it's magnification, and all the products that I mentioned. So in terms of screen reading, we're probably way lower than NVDA and JAWS, but in access technology, I would say we were the equal of any of our competitors in Europe.
You sell via dealers or you sell directly to...
So in the UK we do both, and outside of the UK we sell via dealers, and that's to make sure that the customers get that support in their local language.
And where could people find the information?
So if you go to all the W's, your Dolphin, YOUR Dolphin.com, and that's /Supernova, /Easy Reader, or /Guide Connect, which is our other software there.
But you have different products to help people use a computer who are not so proficient?
So Guide Connect is a really good example of that. So what we've done is we've taken away the problem with Windows, and in some ways iPads and Google tablets, is every application has a different interface. So I find people that, yes, I use my iPad, I meet older people, but what they're using is just the Audible app, or they're just using one or two apps. What we decided to do is create a new interface to Windows, which is called Guide Connect. And in that you can do emails, letters and documents, the web, scan, use a camera, you can download books, your address book, your calendar, radio, podcast, music. And in doing that we created exactly the same interface for everything. Up and down, enter to go in, escape to go back. And we also use a little remote control, so you can do exactly the same. So you could connect a small form PC to your TV, or you could use an existing Windows 10 PC if you wish to as well. So it's designed for that all those people I've tried to train over the years, which really struggled using Access technology and Windows.
And mainstream software changing all the time and shifting things from one menu to the other or going to ribbons and...
Well, Bart, you've got it absolutely nailed. Is one of the beauties of Guide Connect is I show them how to use one application, and then I turn around and they're using others because it works exactly the same. It's that simple. Select, enter, come back is escape.
So you make your own environment with the most frequently asked tasks that people want to accomplish.
Superb question, Bart. Yes, it is exactly that. So what we've done is we've given our support people and our dealers a code where they can actually enable or disable the different modules. Okay. So you buy the whole kit and caboodle, as we say, the whole product, but you can actually add to it modules.
When you are ready to start something new, you can ask to enable the next module.
Is exactly what happens. Yes, and then it works really well from that point of view. So the internet is obviously the more difficult one, but what we decided to do is use speech input there. So on the remote control, you can talk into it, and it will do your Google search for you that way.
Okay. And you bring that to the television? How should I see that?
Yeah, so you use what we have as a small form PC, so about the size of an Apple TV box, but it's a Windows PC. Then you HDMI cable into the back of your TV. Then you have a remote control, and you can literally read your emails, surf the web. You can download books, listen to your radio station.
And this is also available in all the languages that you said before?
So we released it in April, so we're catching up. So the languages so far are English, Swedish, Norwegian, Dutch, I've missed one, Italian and Spanish. Coming shortly is German and Finnish.
Excellent.
So the last product, should I talk about it, is Easy Reader, which is it's an app for the iPhone and for the Android tablets. Okay, so with Dolphin Easy Reader, if you look in the App Store or the Play Store, you'll find it there, and it connects to 30 of the libraries around the world. So what we've tried to do is, rather than everybody having an app for each of the libraries, you can connect to all of the libraries in one app. All right, and it's absolutely free, and we won't charge for it in 2 years or 10 years.
Hi there, I'm David Raystrick, and I'm from Envision America. We make a product in the U.S. Called Script Talk, and it allows for a prescription, any medication, all the information for that medication to be spoken by a device, either a device or a smartphone. So it uses a special label that's placed on the medication by the pharmacy or the apothecary. They put this special label on, and I'll go ahead and read a medication here for you. I have a device here. It's called Script Talk Station.
Script Talk Station ready.
Okay, and if I press a button here, and all I have to do is hold the medication over the prescription.
Patient Miguel Espanyol. Medication amoxicillin 250 milligram capsule. Instructions: take 1 table 3 times per day.
Okay, so you're holding like a reader device in your hand?
Correct. So this is
it's a loudspeaker and
right. This is the Script Talk Station, and it comes in many languages. Okay, so you get whatever language you want. You can put in this device, and the pharmacy puts that special label on the medication. And then really it's just a matter of pressing the center read button. It's a RFID. It uses a radio frequency or NFC technology. Okay.
And it just needs to approach the device to be read.
Correct.
And you can feel the tag on the box.
On the bottom, or bottom or the box, whatever the prescription is in, you put a little small round 3 centimeter label, round 3 centimeter label on the bottom of the medication.
And where is the intelligence? Where is the content?
The content is on the bottle, on the label. It's stored on the microchip in that label. The device is what you would think of is a very dumb device. All it does is enunciate the information. It just does text-to-speech out. Same thing is true we have readers on smartphones, both Android and iPhone, that you can get the information spoken also. So
what we ask from pharmaceutical companies, when they update their prescription, they update their tag and they ship a few of them to each pharmacy.
No, actually inside the pharmacy, the pharmacist inside the pharmacy will actually program the actual correct information, exactly what it is.
So just a random tag, and it's the pharmacy who can download the right or associate the right content with the right label.
That's exactly correct. So they're programming the exact correct information into that medication. I have the app right here. This is the Script Talk app.
Script Talk mobile.
So I'm going to go ahead
and hover the same product over.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and press scan button. And you hover it over. There, that's right there.
6:50 p.m. Script Talk patient Miguel Espinal. Medication.
And we get the same information.
Yep, all the same information is spoken using the iPhone. So
3 times per day.
So I can, with the app now, I can just traverse through the information, or I can get to the piece of information. If I want to maybe make a phone call directly to the pharmacy, I can do that right from the app. So what's most important with this, the technology is available in the U.S., and we're looking for individuals that want the same amount of accessibility in Europe also. So we're looking for individuals that are excited about not just Braille on a medication box. They want all the information. They want the warnings. They want the actual instructions that the doctor has provided to them. They can get that information spoken using one of these devices. So that's called Script Talk.
And the device helps to navigate through the content? Can it be rather long sometimes, these instructions, or can you skip through?
You can skip through any time. Like on the hard reader on the Script Talk station, there are arrows. If you feel that, arrows up and down, you can move through the information. Of course, on the app, you can navigate using VoiceOver.
Okay, thank you.
Or in Android and TalkBack also. So.
Good morning. I have with me newly elected EBU president. I'm very honored to have his first interview.
Thank you very much. My name is Rodolfo Cattani. I'm from Italy. I have worked at EBU and the Liaison Commission, the commission which is connecting EBU with the European institutions, and for many years. And all of a sudden I have been nominated for the position of president. It was absolutely unexpected. And now I have 4 years of hard work in front of me. And I'm very happy, but also a bit worried about the future because it will be certainly an important period for EBU and for the whole disability movement, I think, because we had the election of the new parliament in Brussels. We are going to have in a few days the new commission in place, so that we have a new political atmosphere, a new political framework, which will imply much work both at the European and at the national level as well for our organizations. Lobbying and contacting people and trying to make our problems known as much as possible, etc.
In the last period, last 4 years, we have seen 2 important files that affect our listeners. EBU has worked extensively on the Web Accessibility Directive, and we contributed to the Accessibility Act. Are there any files you see coming up for the next working period that are important?
technology-wise?
Yes, these two important issues are not closed, honestly, because there is still a problem with the implementation of these two important acts. The activity is more at national level, but there is the control and the monitoring on part of the Commission, and there will be certainly some countries where we will have problems in the correct implementation of these acts. But they are both extremely important, and we have also the AVMS directive, the Audiovisual Media Services Directive, which is extremely important, a new one. And also this directive must be implemented. It is important to make TVs and all communication systems more accessible for blind and partially sighted people.
In which phase is this directive at the moment?
This is made. This is approved already.
So there's also a transposition period right now?
It is starting. Mm-hmm. And I must say that also here we had a very good contact with, especially with the Parliament, and then, well, also with the other institutions, Commission and... For the future, we are now much more concentrating a little bit less on technology. We are concentrating very much on policy, because we have this important, let's say, passage from the existing disability strategy 2010-2020, and we are working in order to have a new one. Disability, we would like to call it more disability agenda, to keep it more practical and to give clear priorities and to open up new perspectives for the implementation of the United Nations Convention in particular. And here we are very much engaged, because with the new commissioner we have discovered that the ideas are not completely clear on their part, and so we have to explain, we have to push very hard in order to have this new strategy or agenda, how it will be called. And we have the European Day of Persons with Disabilities at the end of November. Every year we have this important conference, and there we will discuss mainly these issues. In the year to come, we will have certainly new proposals concerning also the technological area, but at the moment there are no concrete proposals coming from the Commission in this field.
Mm-hmm. Since this is a technology podcast, I think it's interesting for our listeners to hear from blind people in important positions how you manage all your tasks to get through a lot of information, maybe inaccessible documents, travel booking websites that are not very accessible. How do you manage, and what do you use as technology?
I don't like synthetic speech when I work. I can use synthetic speech, and I do use it, for example, when reading novels or these things that do not exist in Braille, because my favorite means of access is Braille, of course. So I use a Braille display in this case from Alva. I'm not very much satisfied of this product because it is not completely reliable. Sometimes I lose my files and so.
You connect it to the computer, or you use it as a standalone device?
I use it as a standalone, but of course I have to take from the computer all the material, because it cannot be used independently.
I see.
So and then there is another problem, that it can use only TXT texts. So all the text need to be converted in this TXT system, which is not bad at all, but it requires an intervention every time I have some materials arriving in different sources.
So when you chair a meeting or you give a presentation, this is the device that you use to check your notes?
I would say much more than notes, because I have all my texts prepared there. And for example, today I will present the report on the resolutions committee, and it's the complete text is written, so I have it under my fingers and I can dominate it absolutely. If I should use synthetic speech or from the computer or from wherever, I would be lost, absolutely. So Braille for me is essential. If I would not have Braille, I could not work. I would really in difficulty.
Excellent. Anything you wanted to add, or?
Yes, what I would like to add is to congratulate for this program you make, the Access at the newsletter. And I would also say that for me, what would be important is to have a real smartphone with the tactile command. Because I think that I'm not the youngest person, and I have a real problem with the smartphones who do not have keyboard. So I think that if in future we could have a smartphone with a keyboard, for me it would be fantastic.
Thank you very much. I wish you good luck. Congratulations again with your new position. And as you say, it will be a lot of work, but I think it's in good hands. So all the best, and hope to speak to you again.
Thank you, and all the best to the listeners of your program.
Hi, I'm Auda Hazim. I'm from Natic Technologies in Dubai, UAE, and this is our very first participation in a European exhibition. Today we are showing a Windows-based agenda or a note taker. It's a Braille. It has Braille, and of course the concept is it's a built-to-order system. We can, of course, it comes by default with NVDA and Windows 10. The system is very small. It has it can have any number of Braille cells that you may choose, such as 16 cells, 20 cells, 32 cells, 40 cells. Modular. We use standard equipment from Intel, and we have from M3 up to Core i7.
Okay.
And the Braille display is built in. It's one integrated system altogether.
Can I see it?
Yeah, this is the M3.
So I see like a QWERTY keyboard.
And you tell us
in one device with the Braille cells, with the cursor routing keys even.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And this is a standard keyboard.
No screen.
Well, actually, we can build a screen if you want.
Okay.
But we put in an HDMI here on the side, so there is an HDMI port.
Yeah. There's a separate little screen.
Yeah, and
that's cute.
Is even a touch screen.
Okay.
So, what's really interesting about it is the price. If you choose your specifications, you can go as low as 16 cell Braille display for under 2,400 euros. The price.
Even if you custom built it for just one person.
Yes, absolutely. That's the point. It takes a little longer, 35, maybe 45 days to build, but you give us your specifications, we build it for you.
And since you're using default modules, so I guess language is not the biggest problem then, because you're using default Windows, NVDAs in all languages.
Yeah. And for the hardware also, we use an Intel. We're using, just standard equipment, so for future upgrades, it's really easy. And for repair, you can take it to any shop, and they open it up and do replacement or upgrades. The system next to it over here is the Core 7, which has to be a bit
bigger, thicker,
and thicker. Yes, but that's just to give you an idea.
For the weight is still okay.
Yes, yeah.
I think like 1 kilogram or something. It's
something
not,
like that. Yes.
Definitely not more than a laptop plus braille display.
No.
Yeah. Why would you build it in one housing?
Well, you mean having it as modular? Modularity has advantages, but disadvantages as well, such as the connections eventually becoming loose or something like that. So we thought it's maybe a follow-up model will have a modular braille display. In theory, we can do that. Where you can take away the braille display? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, usually my braille display survives 2 or 3 of my computers, so it lasts longer than. But since also the computer part is modular, I assume you can update separate from your
because we don't make the board for the motherboard. We only make the communication boards, the microcontroller board, and those you don't need to change because they sit between the Intel infrastructure and the braille display. The most expensive component is the braille display. We can always take that and house it in another system for a minimal price.
Yeah.
So that's the concept.
Okay. And you plan shipping to Europe as well?
Yes, absolutely. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
We're basically checking out people's feedback. And what's different about us, we're very flexible. We can adapt and make changes because every customer has his own system. So that's our advantage.
Okay. Can you mention a website or something?
It's www.natic.com. It spells NATTIQ.com.
Yes, I'm Jarek Urbański and we are from Poland. Harpo is a manufacturer of braille devices and devices for tactile graphics. Today we are showing Tutor. Tutor is the new Mountbatten Brailler, well known already in the Blind Society for its versatility in education and multifunctionality. This one is even more versatile and it has more functions. It's, for example, internet connected, but it's smaller, quieter, a little faster, and has some features like wireless keyboard, especially important for multiple disabilities when you don't want to keep the embossing device on your laps.
So tell me a little bit. I see here a separate little braille keyboard.
Yes.
I see a bigger device which has paper in it.
The main part can print. It just embosses on paper. It's regular paper, like copy paper, 80 grams per meter, or a regular braille paper. So any thickness of paper is good for this device, which is important in education for the cost and the loudness of the process.
Okay.
Now, the wireless keyboards can be used for typing. While you type, the main part embosses. Can you try?
D-U-R-O-P-P-E-N Beer I-D Blind N Union
Beer goes to the next line. What you typed is can be seen on a small screen in front of your device, so that's good for people who are assisting the blind person who is typing. It also connects to the internet, so the whole process can be supervised by a person or teacher who not necessarily is with the child.
Does it have a memory? If what I type now, could I save it for
Yes,
later printing and extra copy printing or something?
Yes, it has lots of memory. You can save whatever you type. You can get some files from outside, from internet, from other devices. It has a Bluetooth connection to iPad or iPhone or
Okay, so I could print
tablets.
documents that were not typed on the device.
That's correct.
I see. Mm-hmm.
It works all day on battery, plus 30 pages embossing.
And you said also something about graphics?
This device does graphics. It's a simple thing by making the raster, the matrix of the braille dots even so that it may do graphics. But we also have a separate device that does graphics, which is PF, Pictures in the Flash. This device works on paper that we produce too. This paper can get raised graphics after being passed through the PF.
The swell paper.
First, yes. The first thing you have to do, you have to print on a laser printer. On this paper, everything that's black will be later raised up while passing through PF.
How do people buy the device? Do you ship it throughout Europe, or do you have local dealers?
We
or how
have
do you
local
work?
dealers everywhere. We have a website, INT from international, so int.harpo.com.bl.
Another complication with Braille and internationalization is the Braille tables. Can I set my language?
Yes. We have in each device at least 40 tables, bright tables for different languages. Until now, with the old Mountbatten Braille, you would have to reprogram the whole thing for other language, and this new, you will just switch the languages and Braille tables on a single command.
How do you maintain your Braille tables? Do you use LibLouis, or do you have your own table system?
We have our own. If we make new, we quite often use LibLouis, but we also work with our dealers to make it best.
Yeah, this is the Humanware Europe stand, part of the Humanware Group, Canadian company. My name is Nigel Evans. In Europe, we have a main office in the UK, and from there we distribute our products. So the products we have go from a handheld electronic magnifier, from a 5-inch to 8-inch, then we go to portable systems with a camera, so that students, for example, can take the product called the Connect 12-inch tablet in a stand that'll do OCR, gives them the full Android operating system, distance camera, and all the connectivity that they need. And that'll fold up pretty small, and they can carry that from classroom to classroom. Then we have the Reveal 16, which is a foldable 16-inch CCTV style system, also with a distance camera, and the i model, the Reveal 16i, then has also Android operating system and gives you the full Android spectrum of apps that you can use as well. We then move on to Daisy players. So we are the manufacturer of the Victor Reader Stratos and Victor Reader Stream, which are well-known Daisy book players and digital talking books. We then have, sidelined from that, is the Victor Reader Trek, which does the same functionality as the Stream, as a Daisy book reader, but it also has full GPS navigation for a blind user in it. So it's got all the streets of Europe in it, so you can navigate from point A to B, and it'll guide you and announce points of interest and everything as you go.
What map data do you use?
We're using TomTom at the moment.
You get the whole Europe.
You get the whole European maps
and updates from time to time.
And
I hope.
Updates time to time. Yeah. Then we've got Braille products. So we have the Braille Note 14, 40, 80, and the Braille Note Touch, which is the note taker based on Android as well, with the full suite of of applications. That's the one you're looking at now. It's got a word processor. It's got a
it's one device with a braille display and
keyboard,
tablet and tablet, I guess, in one housing.
It's a specially designed device, but it does have a screen, which is why we can flip the keyboard away, and that reveals the touch screen underneath.
And it's running Android.
It's running Android. Mm-hmm. So and you can download normal apps, and if they're accessible, then you'll be able to work with it.
You would work with TalkBack, not with other...
yeah, it's TalkBack, Brailleback. No, it's that, and we've enhanced it with our own software as well. So we've got a range of apps, but also with the navigation of it, we have dedicated thumb keys and first letter navigation, which tends to speed up moving around the Android environment. So we actually complement the TalkBack and Brailleback.
And you would type that on your keyboard, because I don't see a Braille keyboard on the device.
Yeah, there's the Braille keyboard
over
the top. But we've got two keyboards. We've got the hard keyboard, which you're feeling now, which is 8-dot keyboard on a flap, which I can actually move away. That releases, and I can now type on the screen.
So with your fingers? With multiple fingers?
It's just straight onto the screen.
Android allows for...
Well, we've developed the software for that.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So what it actually does is when you open up the flap to take away the hardware keyboard, the screen will come on, so that for a student at school, the sighted teacher would be able to help and see what they're doing. But you can actually put all 10 fingers down at the same time on the screen. Immediately, it's calibrated that the screen sees where those fingertips are, and you can start typing.
My experience is that a Braille display is robust, is long-lasting, and tablets, we replace them every 2-3 years. Is it possible to get an upgrade of the...
Well, we've just done an upgrade, funnily enough. We've gone from an older version of Android to the latest. I think it's 8.1 or 8.2 we're using at the moment, but we had to update the processor to be able to do that. People who had the Braille Note Touch with the older processor could send their unit in. We would change the insides of it for a price and then send it back to them.
My name is Björn Löfstedt. I'm from Index Braille in Sweden. I started it for more than 30 years ago. Index Braille, we are focused in producing the production and development of Braille embossers. So we have 4 models: the Basic, the Everest D, the Braille Box, and the Fanfold D. So the Basic and the Everest is the desktop models used for school, workplaces, and personal use. The speed of those ones are 140 characters per second. And then the Braille Box and Fanfold are more for production. They have 3 times the speed of the Basic and Everest. And but the other thing that is different is the paper you can use. So Basic and Fanfold use the continuous tractor-fed paper. This is the traditional paper used for Braille. And Everest and Braille Box use cut-sheet paper. That you can use normal cut-sheet paper from your office supplier.
You don't work with the big rolls of paper like some others do?
No, we don't have any model for big rolls of paper.
Okay. And the software that you use to prepare your documents before you send them to the printer, this has also evolved from WinBraille to Direct Braille to the Braille app. Can you say a little bit about this development?
Yes, today you can print standard document like DocX and PDF document to the printer, and inside the printer there are resources, both translation from text to Braille and to format it to the size of your Braille page, etc.
And that's an application available for which platforms?
This is an application that is distributed inside the printer, so it is available in all modern browsers. So you can use Windows, iOS, Android, Linux, Unix, and so on. To start the Braille app, you need to have the printer connected via an IP port, either the wired IP port or the Wi-Fi IP port. And then you open the browser, And in the search window of the browser, you type the IP address of your device. And then you will see the user interface of the Braille app.
There I select the document I want to send to the printer and also my settings, like which language it needs to be translated into, my margins, my settings. Or
yes, you have one part is Braille layout, and there you can see the settings, you can edit it and adjust it for your need. And then the other thing is you can print out from you can browse for the file in the same way as you browse on Word. I mean, the file can be on your device, in the cloud, or on a USB memory stick, for example.
And when the file is translated into Braille format, I can still modify the text. I can still check that the last word is not on one page, or that one title is not just at the bottom of a page.
Correct. You can in the browser you have the possibility to edit the text either as a Braille text with 6 or 8 key entry, depending on if it's 6 or 8 dot Braille, or with the normal keyboard.
And I can still add lines or take away text or add...
Yeah, you can cut and paste. You can, like a relatively simple editor, you can add new, go to next page break.
Where do you get your Braille tables from? Because every language has their own Braille table, sometimes 6 dots, sometimes 8 dots. Do you get them from LibLouis or?
Yeah, all our tables are based on LibLouis. So the latest LibLouis tables are distributed via the firmware upgrade of the printer. And if there is a customer that need a new Braille table, I think that's the best way to test a new Braille table, is that you can use a similar Braille table, make the correction in the Braille table, and then you can load it to the printer and test that it works fine with your test document.
Technically, all your printers are able to print also 8-dot Braille?
Yes. I mean, there's no limitation of where to put the dots. It's just software limitations.
You showed me also a printout of an image. Therefore, you would need other software.
Yeah, for tactile graphics, you need other softwares. There are a few available. Like TactileView is the most common one.
That's paid software, or?
Yes, it's a commercial software.
Mm-hmm. Okay. If people want to buy your printers, I think they go to local dealers.
Yeah, you can find information about Index in our website. It's called indexbraille.com. And there you find both product information, pictures, videos, technical data and pricing. And you will find links to the local distributor in your country.
Easy TV is a project that it will be finished at the end of June next year, and is a project of Horizon 2020, and it is a cooperation with the University of Madrid, Research Center of Greece, of Athens, and different companies in Italy, engineering and MediaVoice. The project is trying to create a platform that will ease the access and then also the creation of contents for European TV, both for blind people and also for deaf people.
And how do you make TV easier?
You make TV easier by create an automation in creating contents for visually impaired people of this audio descriptions. Nowadays you only have very few programs that actually are accessible with audio description to visually impaired people. Like this, you will be able to create a system where you can actually, in an automatic way, create audio descriptions. And at the same time, for deaf people, there will be an avatar that translates in sign language whatever goes on in multiple language.
And where can people find more information about the project?
On easytvproject.eu.
Our technology and our projects also include a crowdsourcing platform where professionals and where also users can can participate in the production and in the quality of the final results.
That's interesting.
The final user can improve the quality because they can participate on the final result of what the software is producing. So the crowdsourcing platform will be applied to audio subtitling, to subtitles, to multi-language sign language for deaf people, and also for audio description, for the description of the movie. But for now is not published. This is a platform, EasyTV is a platform that can be used by broadcasters, and so broadcasters can then give the possibility to their users to participate in this crowdsourcing platform for content improving. The website is in the languages of the partners project, which is Italian, Greek, Spanish and Catalan. The project is working now on these languages for testing, but in the future
can be extended.
They can be extended, yes, in any language. We are working on also the user side for accessing this accessibility content. For example, for deaf people, we are building a realistic avatar for the sign language. And regarding blind and visually impaired people, we are working on a voice remote control to access and to consume this content. So the user can control the TV set and can control all the accessibility content and settings of this content. Yes, we are working now on the HBB TV standard, which is a standard for broadcast and broadband TV. So this union between broadcast and broadband TV, which has second screen capabilities, synchronizations also. So the final user can use a tablet or a smartphone to synchronize with the content that is running on the TV. So they can control the audio, they can access the subtitles and so on through this kind of technology.
Thank you for listening. This has been EBU Access Cast.